Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to Mindful Yoga. Today we're emphasizing two inner abdominal muscles, the psoas and the piriformis, both of them extremely important to the stability of our hips and pelvis and also to the mobility of our hips and pelvis. Both can be a little risky if they get too tight, but also a little risky if they're not honed into shape. Here is the psoas muscle. You can see how it attaches up here to the lumbar spine vertebrae. And there are nerves in the lumbar area as well. So they're associated with those nerves. And then it runs down inside the hip. It joins with the iliac. So you could call this the iliopsoas muscle. Together they come down and attach inside the top of the femur or the thigh bone. Often, if you don't get release here, it's associated with emotional stress or some kind of feeling that things aren't right with the body. So releasing it can be a little bit difficult, but very important. We use it a lot in our yoga poses. Here's an example of the iliopsoas in a skeleton that's doing a triangle pose. And you can see that on both sides, the iliopsoas or the psoas muscle is very active. When you come down like that, you're flexing down over your front leg, and that's when the psoas is very active. So when you lift your thigh, for example, when you're walking and you want to march and you bring your thigh up, that would be the psoas that's doing that. It's always active in our walking as we kick forward in our gait. The piriformis, also located in the abdomen, here's a close-up of it, attaches in the sacrum area, so it's a little lower down, and then it comes across over to the top of the femur or thigh bone. And you can see it works along with other muscles as well. It's responsible for external rotation of the leg, also rotation of the hip. You can see it here when someone is sitting crisscrossed on the floor or doing Baddha Konasana, which we'll do here in a minute. It is activated. So it comes around from the mid-sacrum and comes around and attaches to the femur. The sciatic nerve runs behind it, and therefore if this piriformis muscle is inflamed or is too tight, then it can cause pain in the sciatic nerve down our legs. So we want to release both of the psoas and the piriformis, and we want to strengthen them. So we'll be working with both of those today. Let's come to a seated position. Just crossing your legs. By the way, we will use a strap later. If you don't have one, you can just use your hands to support the leg, but you might want to have a strap. Coming into a seated position for just a minute, taking a few breaths, arriving on the mat. Lifting up from sits bones up through the spine, perhaps feeling the lumbar spine, sacrum, lumbar spine, up through thoracic spine, and up through the cervical spine of the neck. Reaching up through the back of the crown, the root of the tongue, little tuck in the chin. Enjoying the full breath as the diaphragm contracts and expands the lower ribs on the side and the back. The inhale might continue up to inflate the higher lungs as well, behind the heart, under the armpits, under the collarbone. Let's take 3 more breaths here, allowing the exhale to become a little bit longer than the inhale. Letting busy thoughts behind and just coming into this space wherever you are, coming into the now of this moment. As we sit here, we are using our piriformis muscles. So anytime you have the legs externally rotated, the piriformis is active. So we're awakening it right now. We want to awaken it a little bit more. We could bring the soles of our feet together, and depending on knees and hips and how that works with you, modifying for what you need, feet might be together a little farther out or farther in. I'm going to bring my heels back towards the groin. Hands are going to come around ankles or around toes or feet. And in this position, with the heels a little bit farther back, I'm pushing my feet together. The piriformis is engaging here. Other muscles are too, but the piriformis, if you can bring your mind's eye to the lower part of the sacrum and a muscle that goes across on each side out to the top of the femur. As you push your feet together, your knees can perhaps come apart a little bit more, but no need to strain. Just stay within your range of motion. Let the tailbone come down towards the floor in the back. The abdominal muscles in the front lift up, engaging long through the back. One more breath here. Beginning our awakening and strengthening of the piriformis muscle. Now, if you would sit with one leg extended out in front and the other foot tucked into the inner thigh, adapt as you need to. Once again, if both knees need to be out, that's fine too. I'm a little diagonally out with this front leg. We're using the piriformis over here, which you already know. Over here, if we want a little bit more emphasis on a twist, because we're going to come up and around and over. So there's a slight twist in this pose. The gluteus medius over here on the back side of the hip can become more active to accentuate that twist and support it a little bit better. I have another video about the glutes and you can refer to that. The gluteus medius responsible for some internal rotation. So bringing one hand down, that extended leg, other one comes up and over, perhaps feeling some stretch on the back of the bent leg side in the gluteus medius area on the side back outside of the hip, the surface area of the hip, and then coming back up and over. Piriformis muscle active on the bent leg, on the other side, gluteus medius active in the twist. And coming back up, let's come to the other side. Mind's eye on that piriformis on this side. Mind's eye on the gluteus medius over here. As we twist a bit, come down the leg, other arm comes up and over and comes back. And one more time. Now we'll come into a lying position. Taking a moment as we come down to just breathe. Notice what parts of the body are touching the mat. Relaxing down a bit behind the heart, in the sacrum area, the calves, the heels, shoulder blades, and the back of the skull. One more full breath here. Then if you have a strap or a scarf, bring that now, or you can use your hands to support your leg. Leg reaches up towards the ceiling. Knee remains a little bent, but the heel reaches up towards the ceiling. We haven't opened a lot in the back of the leg yet, so don't demand too much. Both of the strands of the strap can be taken in the same hand as that leg, or you can just be holding your hands behind the thigh, opening that leg out as the piriformis muscle performs its external rotation, and then relaxing a bit through that, holding on to the strap or your hands for some support, giving some release to that piriformis. Then lifting back up, gluteus medius on the back side of the hip is busy now as you internally rotate. And then you can relax a bit in that as well as the strap or hands hold this. One more time, reaching out. And coming up over midline. Then bring the foot up and give the knee a hug, putting the strap aside if you're using a strap. This is a nice release for the piriformis as well. You could bring the knee slightly towards the armpit. And sometimes we come up into happy baby here. We're not going to do this time, but that also is a nice release for the piriformis. Bringing the other leg up, strap or hands, giving it support. Heel extending up towards the ceiling, some give in the knee, just beginning to open the back of the leg. And actually we're opening the, releasing a bit through the gluteus maximus here, the big glute muscle in our buttocks. And then opening that leg up, activating piriformis, and then resting down, giving it some stretch. As you bring that leg up, gluteus medius giving some internal rotation. Reaching out once again. And coming up. Coming back through center, removing the strap or hands, giving that knee a hug. Some stretch for the piriformis in a slightly different way. And then bringing that knee over towards the armpit gently. Now bringing that left knee down, left knee bent, left sole of foot on the floor, the right leg comes up, and the right ankle goes onto the left thigh. Lifting the left thigh up. This is kind of the classical piriformis stretch. You might bring some flex to the figure 4 ankle. And bringing some conscious relaxation from the knee down through the thigh into the hip and that sacrum area as the sacrum goes across. As the piriformis goes across from the sacrum over to the top of the femur. Maybe bringing your awareness to that area, breathing into that area. The breath goes everywhere in the body. The main mechanism is not in your piriformis, and yet we have some control over our breath. Our minds carrying the focus of the breath down into the piriformis. And now coming to the other side, the left leg becomes the figure 4 leg with the ankle on the thigh, and the other leg lifts up with some support from the hands. Again, some conscious relaxing through the area of the buttocks and the hip, from the knee down to the hip. Perhaps some flex in the ankle of the figure 4 leg. But most important here is the relaxation, because we're trying to release through the piriformis, through this figure 4. And you might relax in the back of your neck, in the jaw, the places that don't really need to be tense right now. Releasing that, let the left leg be bent with the sole of the foot on the mat. Right leg extends out. And then we're going to lift the right leg straight up. We have now used the psoas muscle, or the iliopsoas muscles that are running from the psoas coming from the lumbar spine down to the inner side of the top of the femur. Once again, lifting up. You're strengthening the psoas. And let it go back. And one more lift. And bring it down. Now let the right foot come to the mat with a bent knee. Left leg extends out. Lifting up the left leg slowly, letting the psoas really get into the feeling so that your awareness is very much in the contraction of that psoas muscle, as well as the iliacus that's coming down from the inner hip and joining it. One more time. Both of these responsible for the lifting of the leg, the flexing of the trunk in relationship to the leg. And bring it down. Now bring both feet 4 or 5 inches below the buttocks. We're going to come into bridge pose. Tuck the shoulder blades in underneath your body. Elbows come in towards the waist. Press into the feet. Raise up. Glutes are awake here, holding up the hips as well as hamstrings and muscles along the spine. And then bring it back down. The bridge, as you lift up, gives some stretch to the psoas. So we're extending here through this front part of the body, a little bit of stretch to the psoas. Let's interlace fingers, get a little more support along the arms and hands for our bridge. Bring the weight into the left foot. And now your gluteus maximus, the big glute in the back, is turned on, engaged in order to hold you up. Then try, if it works for you, to bring the other leg up and raise it up, straight up towards the ceiling for 3, 2, and 1, and bring it down. So the psoas is active as you raise that leg. Now bring the weight over into the right foot, turn on that engaged gluteus maximus. Make sure that's stable, and if it works for you to bring up the left leg straight up, the psoas is activated in that way. Let's bring the hips down. Give things a little rest. And then one more time, coming up into bridge pose, modifying as you need to. And it could be you just stay right here in bridge pose, or making sure that your left foot is securely under that knee, strong through the glutes on that side, and then perhaps lifting up the leg, psoas at work. Bringing it down, make sure the right foot is supporting that right knee, gluteus maximus in the back, turned on, engaged, and the left leg reaches up. So we're strengthening the psoas with the lifted leg, we're strengthening the gluteus maximus with the right leg, and bring it down. Come down. Let's take a long stretch. Take the wrist in one hand and push the heel down on that side as well, lengthening out through the body. Aware of maybe some unsticking among the organs, some expansion through skin and through connective tissue. And do the other side. And coming back from that, your arms are out to the sides from the shoulders. Bring the knees up above the hips. Extend one leg out and bring it back. And then extend the other leg up and bring it back. Back and forth slowly. This could be called a psoas march. So we're using the psoas to bring that leg up, flexing between the trunk and the legs. So anytime that you're walking and marching, lifting the knee up a bit, you can be giving some extra activation to the psoas muscle. Then coming down, let's go over onto our sides. And we're going to have our legs together with a mild V. I'm supporting my shoulder with my forearm. We've all done this before, the clamshell. This is good for bringing extra strengthening to the piriformis muscle. And if you'd like to add a little bit of pressure, just gentle, to the side of the knee as you raise it up, you'll get a little bit more challenge. Or maybe you don't put the hand there and you simply raise up. Strengthening the piriformis. Being aware of the breath as you do this. Always helpful to establish some kind of synchrony between the breath and the movement. And then bringing that down. Another way you can strengthen the piriformis is to come down with your head in the crook of your arm and lift the side leg and bring it down. Lifting the side leg up and down. So even if you remember just a few of these exercises that you can do on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, it's to the benefit of the piriformis and the psoas. We'll also, before we leave this position on this side, do a stretch for the hip flexor and the quads, and that also stretches the psoas. And we've done this before, but bringing the hand to the knee and coming down the shin, reaching back to whatever works for you, depending on how much you can flex that knee. Perhaps you pull the foot back, perhaps you just take a bit of your clothing. The emphasis here on opening in the front of the abdomen and the leg as well. Bringing it up, and one more time, opening up. Taking a moment to breathe here. Releasing that, you could turn over or switch sides in some way. And first we'll come to lying on the side and do the clamshells with the support of the forearm under the shoulder. Your choice whether you want a hand or not, pressing just a bit on the outside of that knee for 8, 7. Letting yourself breathe, let the belly get some breath, the diaphragm moving. I stopped counting. We'll call this 2 and 1. Then bringing your head down, lying in the crook of your elbow and lifting the leg. Perhaps you exhale as the leg lifts and inhale as the foot comes down, or vice versa, whatever feels good for you. keeping that breath moving. Then lifting up once again onto our forearm, giving some stretch to the psoas, as well as the hip flexors and the quadratus, the front of the thigh, and opening up. For me, an inhale and then a long exhale. One last time. Then we'll come into a tabletop position. Hands are directly under the shoulders and knees under hips. Becoming long through the spine, stretching from pubic bone up through the collarbone, feeling an opening in the front of the spine, no crook in the neck, and no hinging at the waist either, just a long, smooth spine, and then lifting with the side muscles, the obliques, lifting the spine up towards the ceiling. Arms become a little longer, opening without sinking too far into the stomach through the front of the spine, and opening the vertebrae in the back of the spine. One more time in each direction. Just a nice basic opening of the spine, which helps everything. Now we're going to come into a prone position. Bring your forehead down onto the backs of your hands. Bend the right knee, flex the right ankle, pull down from the hips down through the knee, and push up just slightly with that heel towards the ceiling. And you'll be giving some nice stretch to the piriformis as well as the psoas. Relax for a moment, then try it again. Just a slight lift up through the heel and bring it down. Now let the right leg rest down. The left knee bends, the left ankle flexes. Some extension from the left hip down through the left knee, and then a gentle push, very slight, but enough to allow some stretching through the buttocks and the front of the hip. And bring it down. Let's lift up. Knees can come a little wide and heels together. Hands are wide as we come back in a puppy stretch. Then coming once again into tabletop. Bring the left hand so it's securely under the shoulder and the right knee is under the hip. Right arm and left leg reach out. If we just stay here, we can feel some piriformis strengthening. The gluteus maximus is also quite active here. It would become more active if we lift that leg just the slightest bit in the back. Your option. And then coming back, right hand is under the shoulder, left knee is under the left hip, and the opposite limbs come out. Piriformis, getting some strengthening here, gluteus maximus. Option to lift that leg just slightly, but the gluteus maximus is also getting some, just from the extension is getting some strengthening. And bring it back. Hands come a little bit forward of the shoulders. Tuck the toes, coming up into downward dog. Paddling the feet a bit. Strengthening back as you stretch back through the arms, and the sides of the body. The psoas is actually active in downward dog. So if we imagine the psoas at the bottom of the spine there, pulling down those lumbar vertebrae down towards the femur, top inside of the femur. If the psoas is active, we're extending back a little bit more in downward dog. And of course, we're in a flexed position here, trunk flexed in relationship to the legs. And so the psoas is active. Let's come forward into plank. A strengthener for everything. 3, 2, and 1. Elbows come in, knees come down. Come down into just a slight cobra. Back up into downward dog. Center the left foot under the hips, right leg reaches up. We're kicking back, so the gluteus maximus is busy, working. And then we're going to bring the knee in under the belly, and the psoas is working. The gluteus maximus kicks the leg back, and the psoas kicks the leg forward. We're going to come into knee down lunge, make your way there however is best for you, coming through with the foot, or perhaps coming down on your knees and coming into a knee down lunge. As you come into your knee down lunge, let the knee in the back be a little farther back, not quite under the hip. We do this various ways. We're using it this time to stretch the hip flexor. And that helps in the piriformis syndrome if you've got that pressure on the sciatic nerve. In the front here, the psoas is working because we've got this flex position between the trunk and the thigh. So they're balancing each other here. Let's have one sun breath, arms come out to the side and up, meet up above the head and come down to the heart. And then let hands come down around that front foot, tuck the back toes, come up into downward dog. Right foot is centered under the hips, left foot rises up, and we'll do the same in-out action, gluteus maximus, busy as we kick up, and then as we bring our knee in underneath the belly, the psoas is working, the iliopsoas, and bringing it through once again. Keeping the weight on the outside of the palms. And then we'll bring that leg through, or you'll come down onto your knees, making your way into knee down lunge with the left foot forward this time. Feeling that stretch through the hip flexor. Feeling the psoas busy on this side with this flex in the body. Nice stretch for the psoas in the back leg. And this also helps with the piriformis syndrome. Let's bring our hands to our chest, and for one time on each side, pushing up with one palm and down with the other. Coming through center and opposite sides, pushing up and pushing down. Then bringing the hands around that front foot, lift the back knee, hop forward, keep hopping forward, bring the feet together, hands slide up onto the shins, press into the shins, become long from the tailbone up through the crown. Knees don't have to be straight here. And then sliding up. Bring one foot back, not a large step. And we're going to slide down once again, hands onto that front shin, and just a slight give in the knee. Pressing into the shin so that there can be a stretch here in the back of the sacrum, in the lower back area. And then sliding back up, changing feet, sliding down onto the shins once again, pressing into the shin, allowing there to be length here in the lower back sacrum area on that side. And bring it up. Let's come into mountain pose. Feeling the feet underneath us, brightening as we engage through the arches, bringing that energy up through the leg, the knees, into the inner thighs. The gluteus medius comes around a little bit as you do that into an internal rotation. Then turning on and engaging the larger gluteus maximus in the back, sits bones coming towards each other. So we are really strong through the hips. You can relax down through the bottom of the feet a little bit so you're not too tight through the legs. Front ribs come down, tucking in. Lower tips of the shoulder blades come in and tuck in. So you have, again, in this torso area, some strong support for the body. And then we're going to use this support to hold the body as we bring our weight over into the left leg, lift up the right knee and give it a little hug and bring it back down. So the psoas is functioning here as we lift that leg and give it a hug and bring it down. And one last time, strong through the foundation leg, especially in the side of the hip there, and bring it down. Bring our weight into the right foot, strong through that hip. Arch is engaged up through the leg, and then bringing that knee up. Keep the front ribs from jutting out. Keep them tucked in, and the lower tips of the shoulder blades tucked in as well, just for the support in the torso as the psoas is doing this little practice here of lifting up the leg. Now let's bring our weight back over into the left leg. Strength up through that side of the body. Then you could lift up this leg. I will say, if you need some more support, you can always have a chair over here as well, or on the other side. So bringing up this leg, and sometimes it helps to have the hand above it as if that knee were kind of part of a marionette, and then bringing the hand over, directing the knee, and maybe you come down now and then, that's fine. The psoas is busy as you bring that knee up, and then the piriformis is working as you externally rotate and bring it back in and down, as if that hand is magically lifting it up and bringing it round and down. One last time. Good strengtheners for both psoas and piriformis. And then bringing weight into the other leg. If you need to shift the chair in any way, do that. Bringing the weight into that right foot now, and energy up through the hip. Knee is always a little soft, but it's firm. Energy up here through the ribs and the shoulder blades as well. Let's take that hand, bring up the knee, and then bring it over to the side. Of course, the psoas is really doing the work, but we can somehow add some energy with that hand, and piriformis does the work as we externally rotate and bring it down. And one more time, bringing it up, opening out, and bringing it down. Bringing the weight into the left foot, once again. Let's be birds for a moment, doing the stork pose. Psoas lifts up that leg, and we can just bring our wings out and bring some movement to the shoulders and the elbows and the wrists. Strong through that foundation leg. Weight coming right down into the heel and across to the mounds of the first couple toes. And bring it down. Establish this foundation leg. Since we can't really fly, we need a leg on the ground. Again, the weight comes into the heel and across to the mound of the big toe and the second, third toe. Strong through the side of the leg. Bring up the knee with the psoas. And some graceful opening from the heart out through the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and even the fingers. One more breath here. And bring it down. Now, one other thing you can do here as a piriformis exercise is to raise one knee. Put your hand on the side of that knee, push out with the leg, but don't let it go out. So it's wanting to go out, but the piriformis is, so the piriformis is engaged, but you're pressing against that knee. I had to pull in my hip here. You don't want that hip to go out. So I'm using the side of my muscles of my hip to bring that in and bring it down. Finding the left leg as your foundation leg, rising up through this right psoas, pushing that through the psoas, yes, lifting up, and then using the piriformis to push again the knee against the hand, hand against knee, using an isometric contraction here to engage through the piriformis and strengthen there. And bring it down. Now we're going to do a warrior two, just to see how in this very traditional yoga pose, these muscles are at work. So finding your yoga two legs, the toes in the front are straight out, the back foot is at 35 degrees or so. It might come a little forward if your hip needs that to happen. Maybe you're wider, maybe you're more narrow in your stance, knee is over, ankle in the front. Bring your attention to the feet. Feel the feet against the mat, the engagement up through the legs into the abdomen. The piriformis is engaged here in the front leg because we have somewhat of an external rotation here. We aren't using the psoas yet, right? Because we have a little flex, but not a whole lot. So the psoas isn't doing a whole lot. The gluteus maximus, this big muscle that shapes our butt in the back, is at work with this back leg. So because we have this extension, the gluteus maximus is engaged. And then let's come into the light portion in the front of the body. So we have all this energy in the bottom half of the body. So that the top half can be quite light in the warrior two. Imagine the lightness of the heart coming out through shoulders, elbows, out through the fingertips, lending some levity and lightness to the atmosphere around us, and perhaps to our own hearts. Two more breaths here. Now leaving your backhand, not bringing it up yet, we're going to bring our front arm bent at the elbow down onto the thigh. We're going to press down into the thigh and we're going to pull up here through the trunk. So pressing down and pulling up. And here you have a nice contraction for the psoas muscle. So because we're really flexing trunk in relationship to leg, psoas is functioning. And we can accentuate that a little bit by pushing down with the forearm and pulling back just a little bit through the hip and the side of the body here, the torso. Then if you want to bring that other arm up and over, as we often do, inside angle, feeling that long line from the back of the back foot all the way up along the side of the hip, side of the torso, up through the arm. Then sweeping back, that head comes to the back thigh, other arm reaches up into sky-gazing warrior, whatever the sky is above you at this point. part of our interdependence with the world, with whatever is happening with sun or rain or clouds. And coming back through Warrior Two. Bringing the hands in towards the hips, turning that foot in the front, toe heeling together just a moment. One hand on chest and one hand on belly. Taking a few breaths here. Integrating all of this energy, allowing it to flow freely through to all areas of the body. Just letting life flow. And we'll come to Warrior Two on the other side. So finding your Warrior Two position over here, being generous with yourself as to what you need in the Warrior Two position. Feeling the feet against the mat, little bright engagement through the arches, bringing that energy up through the legs. Feeling the engagement of the piriformis for the front leg, feeling the engagement of the gluteus maximus for the back leg. Allowing that strength in the bottom of the body to allow a lightness up in the heart, a lightness as we turn our heads and extend our arms. Allowing a light quality to come from our hearts, to let our hearts glow out through our fingertips. 2 more breaths here. Then let the back hand come down, front arm, forearm with the bent elbow comes down onto the thigh. Pause here for a moment, pushing that forearm down into the thigh, and then pulling up a bit through the inner side torso here. Giving some strengthening in a stretched position. So it's a lengthened psoas, but it's also strengthening, which is a good gradual way to strengthen the psoas. And then if you'd like, bring this other arm over into a full side angle, pressing down through that back foot, feeling the side, get a nice stretch up the side of the hip, side of waist, up under the arm and across that arm. And sweeping the arm back and reaching up. Relaxing down through shoulder blades. Appreciating the whole cycle of water and air and sunlight that we are completely a part of. And then coming back through Warrior Two. Bring the hands in, turn the foot, toe heel the feet back together. For just a moment, coming again to hand on chest and hand on belly. 2 breaths here. Feeling the aliveness of the heart and the breathing. Relaxing down through cheeks and shoulders. Softening the bottom of the feet, feeling the fingers and palms soften. And then we'll come into a lying position where we're going to do a release for the psoas. So this release for the psoas is, I think, a very effective one. We've done this before in our classes. This is a figure 4 position, but the foot of the supporting leg stays down on the mat. So one leg in the figure 4 position. Bring the flat of the palm of the arm of the figure 4 leg against the inner thigh of the figure 4 leg, pressing gently against that thigh as you profoundly relax from the knee down the thigh into the abdomen. Relaxing down through the psoas. Soft breath here with long exhale. Relaxing through the glute, the psoas. Relaxing up through the back of the waist, behind the heart, the back of the neck, little muscles at the bottom of the skull in the back, all the hair follicles around to the forehead, the eyebrows, the little muscles around the eyes, the eye globes themselves, and the area behind the eyes, into the center of the midbrain. And let that relaxation come back down into the abdomen, belly, aware and open. Then bringing that foot down and coming into figure 4 position on the other side, but the foundation leg remains down with the foot on the mat. The hand of the figure 4 leg comes against the inner thigh, just a gentle pushing, enough to relax that leg through calf, through foot, knee, thigh, down into a profound relaxation in the inner abdomen. Perhaps feeling a letting go there. Lumbar spine down to the inner thigh bone, the top. Feeling some softness up through ribs. Through heart and lung. Up through throat, jaw. The tongue, the inside of the mouth and the gums, the nostrils, and the cheeks. Relaxing down from behind the ears, down through the collarbone, shoulders soft, down through breastbone and solar plexus and belly button. Back down to the area of the inner abdominal muscles. Soft, open. Then unwinding that position, you're welcome to stretch out here with legs extended or perhaps knees bent, leaning into each other, wiggling through shoulders and hips to make sure you're comfortable, and just taking some time to relax. Welcome to stay here if you're coming back into your day, bringing yourself onto your side and pushing up. Thank you for your practice today. May you maintain your breathing, your openness through the whole abdomen belly area. Mobile, stable, open to the forces of earth energy, sky energy, energy of plants and animals all around us, as well as humans. Namaste. Thanks for your practice. You're doing yourselves all a favor and the world around you.